Our next question caused a little bit of confusion because there were people who thought when they saw an A and a B, they thought they had to choose between A and B. This is where it is critical for you to read the top matter. Okay? It says, find the volume of a rectangular prism with the given side lengths. Explain or show your work. Careful to include the correct measuring label for each. So for these, you could draw them out, but honestly you don't need to, because it's a matter of figuring out what is the most important information I need and what do I do with it. So where A says the length is 4 units, we decided 4 units sounds important. The width is 5 units. 5 units is pretty important. The height is 4 units. 4 units is pretty important. So what do we know? We know when we are given the length of the figure, the width of the figure, and the height of the figure. Well, we know that those are the magic numbers that we multiply together to get the volume. If you don't know that, now you do. That's been pretty much what we've been working on since the beginning of the year. So when you take a look at this and you want to create something that looks like a mathematical sentence, you could take the 4 plus the 5, or excuse me, going ahead of myself, times the 5 times the 4. You can do that because of the commutative and associative properties across multiplication. You can do that in any order that makes sense to you. I'm going to do 4 times 5 first. That gives me 20. 20 times 4 is 80. Okay? Now that much of the mathematics I'm not going to go over and worry about too much right now because you will have a calculator, but you're going to want to show the sentence that you put into the calculator, so that's important. Now Mrs. Plato's voice comes in your head again. 80 what? 80 cubic units, right? Okay. That is all that question was asking you to do. Letter B gets, to me, even a little easier. Okay? So the base has an area of 100 square inches and a height of 8 inches. So we highlighted, circled, whatever was the most important bits of information. Okay? And then we know that volume is the base times the height. Length and width. Length times width gives you the base, gives you the area of the base. This time they just cut it short. They said, nah, we're going to have 100 times 8. We're going to make life easy for these kids. I guess. Probably not saying that. But so we take 100 times 8. Now, you might remember this as find the fact, give it the appropriate amount of smacks, which is what Mrs. Plato sometimes says to remind me. I have to find the fact, which is 1 times 8 is 8. And then instead of saying we add on, which is not what we are doing, when you add zeros, you are adding nothing, no value. We are putting place values on this number. So we give it 2 smacks. I just actually did that with my hand. I don't even know if you can hear that. So gives us 800. Then Mrs. Plato's little voice in your head says, 800 what? Now be careful, because there are certain units up here that they used. Inches. What kind of inches? Not square inches. This is an area. These are cubic inches. Okay? And then that is how you answer that one. So both of them needed to be answered. Neither of them gave you a diagram or a picture. But this is seeing, can you now take this and use what you know to just do the arithmetic involved in this? Okay? We didn't get to this next one, but I'm going to give you a freebie so that the people that were here today can even look at this one. It says, find the volume of the figure. Clearly explain your reasoning. Be careful to include the correct measuring label for the final volume. On your test, you'll have something similar to this, but I'm going to warn you, This one is a little easier than the one that's on your test. On your test, you're really going to have to be able to break that puppy apart like we did in your book, where we traced and we cut and we glued and all that stuff. If you want to trace and cut and glue on your test, that's your prerogative. I don't know that you'll need to, but if you need to, guess what? You can. Whatever makes it work. Okay? So, excuse me. We have obviously two rectangular prisms here. They're put together. Okay? One of them has a length of 8, a width of 4, a height of 5, or if you want to say it's 8 times 5 times 4, that's fine. However you want to break it down is your thing. Okay? The dimensions are 6 by 4 by 6. So, what this is you got to make sure that you know to break them apart. Okay? So I'm going to take my little arrow and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do the work for this one over here, and I'm going to do the work for this one over here. Start to show me exactly what you plan to do. Okay? So I know that to find the area, I need length, width, and height. Okay? So I'm going to use 8 times 4 times 5 for this one. And for this one over here, I'm going to use 6 times 4 times 6. Now you might make up 3 different ways to come up with those numbers because you see things differently. That is fine. There is no problem with this. We're not, your job is not to argue this question. Your job will be to see if you can come up with the right expressions and then solve the expressions. So, or excuse me, evaluate the expressions is the right way to say it. So, 8 times 4 times 5. How would Mrs. Plato do it? I would do the 4 times 5 first. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 8 is 160. I'm not going to go over that a whole lot because you will have a calculator. Okay? But if you know how to do this in your head, if you know how to do this on paper, fantastic. That's not what I'm testing this time around. Then we look at the 6 times 4 times 6, right? And when you look at 6 times 4 times 6, you could look at 6 times 6, multiply that, 36 by 4. You can look at 6 times 4, and that's 24 times 6. Either way, you should get 144 for that one. Okay? If you use a calculator, that's fine. No big deal at this stage of the game. Okay? But we're not done. This is not finished. You have to, at some point, tell me that you took the 160. Move this up a little bit. And you added 144 in order to get, I have to make it smaller too. Sorry about that. As you're looking at this, yes, it's easy to do it like kind of in your mind, but there is some carrying involved. So I want you to be careful, if you have a calculator, to use it for good and not evil. This ends up being 304, right? 304 what? Square feet. Or you can, oh my gosh, I can't type it today. Or you can use the superscript. Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously. Cubic feet. I am losing it. It is too late at night for me to be thinking this through. Thank you for being patient with me. See how easy it is to screw this up? Yeah, this is cubic feet. This was cubic feet. This was cubic feet. When we add it together, it's cubic feet. Holy Lord. So your final answer, 304 cubic feet. Okay? Now, I think I have time to take a look at this last one. Why not? It says, which statement describes the volume of the rectangular prism in cubic units? So this one is asking which one of these, period. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying circle all that apply. It's saying one of these is the truth. This one's slightly easier than one you're going to have on your test. When you're going to have on your test, you're going to have to look a little carefully at the figure. to get the right answer. Is the volume 8 cubic units? Well, let's check it out. What's this layer? This bottom layer? I see 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I see 2 cubes going up, which makes 8, but that doesn't make up for all of the space in here that would have to be filled up by cubes. So no, the volume is not 8 cubic units. Gotta get rid of that one. Okay. Is the volume less than 10 cubic units? Let's take a look. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, how many layers of 6? I've got 3 layers of 6. So what would that be? I think we're looking at 18, right? Is that less than 10? It's not. It's not. So I want to get rid of that one. Is the volume 12? Well, I just kind of talked you through, but I'll talk you through it again. I've got a layer of 6, then another layer of 6. That would be 12, but then there's another layer of 6. So let's see if D actually holds up. The volume is greater than 15 cubic units. Well, I said it was 18, right? 6 and 6 is 12, and another 6 is 18. Is that bigger than 15? You betcha. It is bigger than 15. So if I want, if I wanted to choose my answer for this one, I would choose D. Okay? Best way to study for this, go back over these videos. Go back through, try to, you can even like test yourself over again with these particular questions. Trace them on a different piece of paper. See if you can solve them all by yourself in some way. You have to solve them every single one of them the way I solved them. But you do have to end up getting, the right answer. Now, just a little reminder. The assessment's going to have 1 extra credit on it. It's a tough question. Okay? It's the 4 maker. For those of you that can get all the answers right, but you still want to get a 4, you're going to have to deal with the 4 maker. Okay? Anybody can try to do the 4 maker for some extra credit, but specifically people who do that and have all the other answers right will be the people who score a perfect score. So I just want to let you know that was on there. I hope that these are helpful to you. I wish you the best of luck.